Hi. The 2018 President of the United States, Donald Trump, successfully reached out and set up meetings with the leaders of North Korea and Russia. Several years before him, President Barack Obama, the president at the time, attempted the same thing, build relationships with authoritarian dictators that are immoral across the world. Now, when we look at the political coverage of these two, we see a very interesting difference, specifically with one news outlet. With Obama, Fox News commentators and political analysts, when he attempted to make these connections, they called him an enabler of terror. They called him an incompetent president. They called him an individual who wanted to build relationships and become friendly with ruthless, evil, immoral dictators and leaders. Now, fast forward to Trump. They called it an incredible negotiating moment for the American presidency. They called it an all-time example of American diplomacy and excellent leadership. Now, do you see the inconsistency that I'm trying to get at? And do you see why Fox News, a conservative outlet, might have a slightly different presentation of the conservative president Donald Trump than they would of Barack Obama? Well, is this just a coincidence? Does this happen often in the media, in news reporting and political reporting? Or is this a consistent thing? Well, that's what I want to talk about today. And to be clear, firstly, I'm not specifically speaking about Fox News or conservative biases. I'm talking about biases in general in the media. So we're going to look at what these biases are, how it affects public opinion, and what the cause of it is, and ultimately, how should we go about listening to journalism and reporting when we know that there's biases there. So the first thing that we're going to go through is the problem itself. Now, according to the American Academy of Pediatrics, by the time a young person is 17 years old, they've received over 250,000 commercial messages through the media. Now, a lot of these messages have messages. They have hidden agendas, hidden opinions, and these opinions have an effect on people. And this is exactly what Pew Research showed, was that biases in the media and people perceiving it to be true and honest and correct reporting, that had an effect on their beliefs and ultimately their actions, as beliefs affect your actions. Now, Freakonomics found that 5 of the 20 major media outlets in the United States were either extremely left or right biased, while 11 other outlets were still excessively biased. Now that leaves 11 plus 5, 6, that leaves 4 out of 20 major U.S. outlets not being excessively biased in one direction. Now that we know that bias exists and it has an influence on people's opinions, what's the cause of this? Well, it's important to remember firstly that journalism is not always simple, honest reporting. It's affected by several different things. It's affected by its funders. It's affected by the personal beliefs of the individuals doing the journalism. And very importantly, it's affected by what will get the most attention. A lot of times, this is what drives media outlets and news networks and journalists, is what will gain the most viewership, what will gain the most attraction, most attention. So the University of Alabama, in an interesting study, found in 2018 that terror attacks by Muslims receive a staggering 357% more press attention than non-Muslim terror. And this is in both liberal and conservative media. The reason? Well, the identity of the terrorist is used as a political talking point and is used as something that gains a lot of attention in the news. And that's why this discrepancy is there. Now, why do people buy into the media itself? Why do people always just blindly follow it? Well, the first thing is people are lazy. Doing deeper investigation and deeper understanding of issues and nuances behind problems in this day and age of fake news is becoming more and more rare. We're becoming the generation of 30-second video bites and short news flashes and attention flashes. People don't really go out and make the effort to truly understand things. And the second reason why that's always existed is that it's very easy to follow familiar personalities and news outlets and reporting that kind of affirm your own beliefs and ideologies. So people have a natural tendency to selectively listen to what makes them feel good. So that's really the cause of why this happens. Now, how do we go about dealing with this? And how do we go about um, getting honest reporting and really understanding the truth behind a lot of issues in our society today? The first thing that I would say personally, something that I've been taught, is you follow principles and not personalities. You always follow principles and not personalities. That means people are flawed, and we can't always just blindly follow what the opinions of people, because subconsciously and consciously people selectively find facts and truth that affirm their own specific ideologies and agendas, like I mentioned before. Now, even if you believe that your ideology or political tendency is correct, it's important that you should still be skeptical, and you should still try to really dig deep for the truth, because everyone has biases, and like I said, people sway the truth one way or the other, and what we're getting at when we look at journalism, we're trying to get the truth. So let's get the truth. Let's do our best to figure out what the truth is. The next thing is to be skeptical. Understand that when you're listening to news media, it's entertainment. You have to understand that you're being presented information that's meant to elicit specific reactions out of you. And the last thing I would say, which is extremely important, is always understand nuance. There's nuance in everything. Most of the time when media are black and white and absolute in their opinions of individuals, politicians, or their opinions in general, and absolute in their journalism, it should be a red caution sign that they have an agenda that they're trying to push, and that anything that doesn't support their agenda, they're going to discount. Lastly, one of the most important things is use fact-checking websites, as there are plenty. The Daily Dot did some research and recommends that the best are PolitiFact, FactCheck.org, and the Washington Post Fact Checker. We can use these, and we can use these to fact-check our news and make sure that what we're getting is not biased swaying of truth, and rather it's true journalism and reporting. Now, if there's one thing I want you to take away from my speech, remember, make your own opinions with nuance and focus on the truth and not what people are presenting to you. And remember, you don't have to conform to the opinions presented by the news media. You can develop your own opinions and understandings. With that said, folks, remember, be skeptical and have a great day. Thank you.